Hey, welcome to Peace of Mind Planning. It's Addie, and today I have a guest here. What's your name?
Gabe.
Gabe. He's going to help me today. We are going to talk about what to know if you've been named executor of someone's will. He's very loud, so we may have to let him cut in for a few moments. You want to say anything to everybody?
Yep.
What you want to say?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yes, thank you for tuning in. Exactly. That was just what I was going to get to. So let's talk about what the executor's role is. The executor's role is to gather up all of the deceased person's property, find out where all the debts are, if there are any, pay off the debts, and distribute the remaining property to the beneficiaries as directed in the will. Ooh. little host doing some graphics here for us. So, it sounds very simple, but obviously it's a very time consuming and emotionally fraught experience. I mean, you're dealing, usually most people named executor are doing it for a loved one. So, it's a tough situation, and you're asked to do all these, sort of legal requirements. The first thing to find out when you've been named executor in the will in Louisiana is to find out whether you've been named as the independent executor. So Louisiana has independent administration proceedings, and that's a simplified way of going through the succession process. It's friendly for people who get along. The family gets along well. I always recommend it. It's limited court oversight, kind of allows the family to deal with things, and the court signs off, and obviously reporting things as they happen to the court, but it really does simplify not only the process, but really reduces legal fees. So that's good. All right, hey Squirmy Wormy, I got a few more things I want to tell people. Okay. All right. So we talked about what the executor did, and we talked about whether they want to, you've been named independent executor. If you find out before the person died, somebody says, "Hey, I named you as executor of my will." The first thing you want to say is, "Hey, okay, great. I'm happy to take on that role if that's how you feel. But where's all your important papers? Do you keep your financial information in a spreadsheet somewhere that I need access to? Or are you like my grandma who had it all in one drawer and everybody knew that's where all her important stuff was?" So if you were able to have that conversation, obviously that greatly simplifies, finding out where everything is. But, and if they tell you, "Well, I don't really have things in one place. I have this there, that there," you might want to gently encourage them to put it in one place. Maybe tell them if they'd like your help, you're happy to help them do that. The more prepared in advance, the easier it is later, like most things in life. And then kind of the last thing, as you can tell, my kid's home from school. So this one's going to be kind of short and sweet, but, recently I've talked to a couple of executors, and here are some things that surprise them about being executor, which I don't think a lot of people understand. So the first is the executor is going to be responsible for filing the deceased person's final income tax return. Now, if we're talking about like my grandma, who's 96 years old, I don't think she's filed income tax returns in 20 years because she doesn't have any income coming in that's taxable. So, but if someone has income of over $600 that is taxable coming in, a final tax return will need to be filed. So that's something that surprises a lot of executors, but is something they should be on the lookout for. And, obviously, one of the best things you can do is to try and get access to the person's, last tax return. That gives you a great place to start. If you use your own accountant or bookkeeper or tax preparer, they can probably help you with that. But that's one thing that sort of surprises people. And then the second thing that surprises people is, they should open a bank account as an executor in the name of the estate. So, estate of, name of deceased person. And so to do that, most banks will make you have an EIN. EIN stands for Employer Identification Number. And I know you're thinking, "I'm not an employer. What are you talking about, Addie?" But it's really just the Social Security number for the estate. That's how I think of it. An EIN is just the Social Security number for an entity. And so there's an online portal that the IRS has where you can go online and get the EIN. I think it's easy, but I've done it, lots of times. I think it can be challenging for people who it's their first time doing the EIN. So that's definitely something you can ask your lawyer to help you with, or if you're working with a CPA or a bookkeeper, have them help you with that to make sure the information is correct. But, that's something that, people, it surprises them. They don't want to do it. And obviously, when you open the estate like that, there will typically be, depending on how long it takes to settle the estate, there will typically be, the state will have to file an income tax return. Now, just because it files a return doesn't mean there's going to be any income tax due. So remember, when people are inheriting property, that's not income to them, even though that would be their own personal tax return. But what we're talking about is if somebody held rental property, so the estate was getting money each month for the rental property, that would be income that the estate would have to report on a, I believe it's a 1041 tax return, on its own tax return. And so one of the things, that people, it's not best not to drag it out if you have an income producing estate, because estates and trusts get to the highest tax rate at a much lower threshold. So what I mean by that is, for an individual, you don't reach that 35% tax bracket until it's like 300,000 or 400,000 of income. With an estate or trust, you're there at $12,000, I believe. I haven't looked up the numbers recently, but it's really low. So you're getting that high tax rate very quickly. So that's another reason, to speed up the process, make sure you understand what's going on. And, like anything else in life, the more that you can prepare for that in advance, typically, will pay dividends in the future. So that's just what I wanted to talk to you guys about on this episode, give you quick little information. As always, be sure to like, follow, subscribe so you never miss an episode. If you have any questions, please shoot them out to me. You can shoot them to my email address, info@addiepruittlaw.com, which is also on the crawler on the screen below. And if you want to ever learn any more information about me or my practice, you can go to addiePruittlaw.com and find all the information there that you need. So enjoyed talking to you guys today. Hope you have a good week, and I'll talk to you soon. All right, take care. Bye.